joining us is Bhowmik, the Chief Business Officer of Manipal Global Skills Academy. Through its various programs, the Manipal Global Skills Academy seeks to address the gap between what the academia is producing and what the industry actually needs. How do you look at AI and jobs?
Let me start off by kind of talking about the elephant in the room, where when people talk about artificial intelligence, I think the immediate interpretation is from Hollywood movies, where artificial intelligence is taking over the world. It's building humanoids and robots, and they are replacing the human workforce. And then the artificial intelligent engine starts thinking on its own, and there is disaster. Now, while that kind of a scary world scenario is possibly is very remote, the ability of artificial intelligence to actually impact every industry, every business, every aspect of society is unprecedented. And what we are seeing today, for example, is a very basic version of adoption of AI. So while we do have some areas, for example, where AI is creeping in to make even decisions, and I can talk, for example, about, let's say, the whole financial services sector. The financial services sector is something which is adapting to AI much faster than any other sector. And one of the use cases typically for AI in financial services is the ability to understand which customer might become a bad debt scenario, right? So a customer's ability to pay, a customer's ability to, let's say, fund a purchase, the customer's CIBIL scores might not be enough for an accurate representation. So a lot of back office credit-based decisions are now being taken by bots, and the bots are a combination of I would say very basic applications of artificially intelligent algorithms. The next version of it would typically be in let's say the whole high-tech manufacturing space, where there are a lot of AI-based factory automation setups that are actually building large-scale volumes of automotives, of two-wheelers, of a whole bunch of other mobility applications. That is possibly the other area where there's been a huge impact of AI. But if we were to look at AI in terms of a very basic common human being adapting AI in their day-to-day life, one of the common areas is, for example, speech to text or text to speech. How does that impact a common man? The ability to, for example, to learn from a standard book is not the same for each and every learner. So how do you adapt a text to speech kind of a concept and have that speech read out to you in your local language? Because the text could potentially be written in English, but when you translate that text directly to your local language, it might not make sense. So there is a contextualization that happens in the process. So instead of a direct text to speech, it actually explains the concept and the context to you. So you're able to understand what the book is all about. So there are various applications for AI, and I think right from, as I said, to a very large, complex shop floor, to a very basic ability of somebody who might have, let's say, cognitive or physical inability to, let's say, consume a book. The adoption of an AI-based interface could possibly change their life and the way they learn. So clearly, the applications and ramifications are enormous.
Absolutely. There's so much innovation going on. And beyond the fear that AI will take away jobs, what's a critical aspect of this conversation that's missing?
First of all, I think when we started, when the first car was invented, before that, there used to be horses and carriages. So right from the early 1900s, every time there's been automation, every time there's been industrialization, we have always feared that jobs would go away. And yet, jobs have only increased. And today there is a complete imbalance in terms of, jobs to the people who are available for those jobs. So clearly, the impact of AI would open up multiple new opportunities and roles that we are probably not even able to comprehend today. But I would think that that's possibly the missing piece, because the application of artificial intelligence, the ability of, let's say, somebody who understands Python programming to write a program or write an algorithm with a cognitive decision-making ability is the basis of, let's say, the applications of that the product. So today, effectively, a 15-year-old or a 12-year-old could write a Python-based application. I think where we are missing a trick is probably in areas such as healthcare, for example, where the potential of AI, for example, to diagnose and to even predict a lot of global applications in terms of healthcare. And we have just come out of the worst crisis, that affected humanity, called COVID. The ability of us, of an AI engine, for example, to predict the next similar pandemic and a potential scenario of what we could do to avert it. I think that's the trick that we are missing. So possibly the biggest area of impact for any AI ML based application would be in the healthcare space. And that would typically have global ramifications. And for me personally, I think that's possibly the biggest impact area that we are missing today.
Right. And how should we prepare ourselves or upskill ourselves to be ready for any such transformation that changes the way entire industries operate, be it COVID or now with the fast adoption of AI that's coming in?
My first response to that would be to be aware of what is going on. What I find today is that we are blissfully unaware of a lot of the change that's happening. And if you are not glued into the impact of any technology, why just artificial intelligence or machine learning or blockchain? If you just see, for example, that how loan processing has changed. So if you think of, let's say, loan processing 10 years back or 15 years back, it used to be a full 30-day affair. Where you go, you have to submit your documents in triplicate and then wait for the bank manager to take a decision. Today, you can get a loan either from your peer group on WhatsApp, or you could get it from a lot of the mobile wallets, where they promise you a loan within 90 seconds. And a lot of that has come in from the fact that today you know the customer better. But more importantly, a lot of these new startups are willing to bet that customer behavior has fundamentally evolved, which means that today, if I'm taking a loan, I will repay the loan. So they're willing to take a risk and take a bet on customer behavior. Now, how do people upskill for such a change that's happening? As I mentioned, the first thing is to be aware of the change that's happening, right? The second thing is to clearly try and constantly upskill yourself in your area of, I would not say competency, but in your area of choice. Because your area of competency might have been something completely different. And today, a lot of technology adoption has become very simple because technology itself has become simplified. So when we were learning coding, we used to learn nested tables and building blocks of coding using COBOL and C and C++. Today you have low code, no code platforms. Today you have a lot of products that have been created for you, where you can completely apply a user journey from a consumer's perspective and build an application completely on your own. Today, you can build a website in seconds. There are a lot of website builders where you just have to drag and drop the application. You have to define your parameters, and your website is up and running in maybe less than an hour. Now, that is available to you, but is that something that is of interest to you? Is that something where you see a growth path? Is that something that you could potentially pursue and change the way you've looked at your career? Those are all decisions that people need to take. The one thing that most employees cannot afford to do anymore is not do anything. I think the fact that we have a vast section of people, for example, who are operating in the public sector, who have been possibly doing the same job for the last 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And sometimes we might feel that we are insulated from the change, but it's very unlikely that anyone is insulated from the change, because when the change happens, it's going to happen like a tsunami and everything is going to get swept under it. But more importantly, it will also end up creating a very vast section or segment of people who are potentially redundant, or they could be looking for jobs, and because they have not invested in skilling themselves up either from a tech perspective or from a new role or a new job function or a new industry entirely, those people would be at risk. So the long and short of it is that there are various options available. There are various modes available to skill and reskill yourself. It's also available at very attractive price points today. So you don't have to be spending a lot of money and going through a completely a 3-year learning journey or a 4-year learning journey to learn a new skill. I think everything is available to you in a modular fashion. It's available to you on apps. You can consume it at your own pace. You can consume it at your own speed. You can decide, do you want a basic level? Do you want an intermediate level? Do you want an advanced level of learning? So you as a consumer have so much choice. It's just that you have to make the effort to go out and get it.